It's the tangled and bitter story of the ambitious English politician, his brilliant Greek wife, the speed camera, and his lover. In March 2003, Chris Huhne was caught speeding on this road, the M11, whilst returning home from Stansted Airport. With 9 points on his licence, he faced disqualification and wanted his wife to take the points. She did, and for 7 years, no one was the wiser. Until 2010, when he told her he was having an affair with his aide, Karina Trimmingham, and that the marriage was over. Vicky Pryce wanted revenge for his infidelity, so she spoke to the Sunday Times, emailing its political editor, Isabel Oakeshott, "I really want to nail him, more than ever actually, and I would love to do it soon." Isabel Oakeshott wrote, "The bottom line is that this story will bring Chris down if you're prepared to go on the record with the minor risk it carries." She wanted to avoid being implicated in taking the points, but her involvement leaked out, and last year both were charged with perverting the course of justice for lying about who was driving. He was defiant.
"I'm innocent of these charges and I intend to fight this in the courts, and I'm confident that a jury will agree."
And that remained his position during months of pre-trial hearings as he attempted to get the case against him thrown out. He failed, and then, on the morning of the first trial, a dramatic change.
"I pleaded guilty today. I am unable to say more while there is an outstanding trial."
Text messages between Chris Huhne and his son Peter were released which showed a family being torn apart. "We all know that you were driving and you put pressure on Mum. Accept it or face the consequences. You've told me that was the case, or will this be another lie? I have no intention of sending Mum to Holloway for 3 months. Dad." Vicky Pryce's first trial ended in extraordinary circumstances. The judge discharged the jury after it had retired to consider its verdict and had sent him a list of 10 questions, which he said demonstrated a fundamental deficit in understanding of the trial process. A note then followed indicating that it was highly unlikely they'd reach a verdict. And so, less than a week later, a second trial began. The jury were played emotional taped phone calls between Vicky Pryce and Chris Huhne, in which she tried to get him to admit to his crime.
"Stop telling ridiculous stories to the press."
I'm sorry, what ridiculous stories are you referring to? I'm talking about you making me take your points and getting others to take your points.
Going on with this nonsense.
Having always admitted taking his points, Vicky Pryce's defence was the little-known one of marital coercion.
If the prosecution proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt, then the wife has a defence if she can prove on a balance of probabilities, that is, if it's more likely than not, that she committed the offence in his presence and under his coercion, that is, that her will was overborne by him.
She told the jury that Huhne, worried about the effect on his political career, had nominated her as the driver of the vehicle without her consent. She'd refused to sign the form. He then confronted her, pen in hand, saying, "This is ridiculous. You must sign this now." She claimed, "I had no choice. If I didn't sign and return the form, it would be an offence. If I said my husband had lied, that would have opened him to prosecution. He would have blamed me forever." The jury didn't believe her, and today, Vicky Pryce was found guilty of perverting the course of justice. Clive Coleman, BBC News.